And
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
welcome to our Where Do I Begin with RealCare Baby webinar. This webinar was designed for those who are new to RealCare Baby or who have inherited existing programs. My name is Emily Kuhn, and I'm on the marketing team here at Realityworks. I am accompanied by Denise Bodart, who is our RealCare Product Manager, and will be presenting today's webinar. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to remind everyone that this webinar will last about 40 minutes in total. That does include the Q&A portion at the end. You will have the opportunity to ask questions at the end, so please hold all of the questions until then. All attendees will be muted to ensure sound quality, so if you have an immediate concern, please go ahead and type it into the questions window in the lower part of your GoToWebinar menu bar. Finally, this webinar is being recorded and will be shared with you all in about 1 week. All right, on that note, let's begin.
Good afternoon. I'm Denise Bodart, the Product Manager of the RealCare Baby product line. We are delighted to have you with us today. The baby that you have consists of much more than just the infant simulator. You have a complete curriculum, a means of reporting and grading, and all the supplies necessary for the operation of the baby. The first thing that we're going to take a closer look at today is RealCare Baby itself. Each baby is about 6.5 to 7 pounds and 21 to 22 inches long. They're anatomically correct, male and female, and come in 7 different skin tones. They do have lifelike head and neck movements, and the head does need to be supported at all times when the babies are turned on. The baby even smells a little bit like baby powder. RealCare Baby 3 has built-in rechargeable batteries and can communicate directly with your computer via a wireless radio frequency. RealCare Baby 3 communication is not affected by cell phones or satellite TV. There is no latex in Baby or any of its accessories. Baby comes dressed in a 2-piece outfit, as you see on the screen here, pink or blue. In addition to the 2-piece outfit, Baby comes with a starter wardrobe that includes a sleeper, outerwear, and a bodysuit. Each of these clothing items has sensors sewn into them, and this information is tracked in the computer and is reported at the end of the simulation experience. Let's take a closer look at some of the items that you'll find that come with Baby. First of all, you'll notice that Baby does come with 1 bottle. The nipple end of the bottle contains a magnetic source that is detected by Baby's feeding sensor. Also, diapers. Baby comes with a pair of 2 of them, 1 green patch diaper and 1 yellow patch. Baby must have 1 of each colored diaper to function properly during a simulation or demonstration. Baby can detect the difference between the 2 diapers. Diapers can be laundered like any cotton or poly product. Line dry diapers only. However, bleach is not recommended because it could change the color of the patches on the diapers. Baby comes with 2 IDs and 5 wristbands. Each ID should have a unique series of numbers and letters embossed on it. IDs function on a wireless radio frequency, and the range is about 3 inches away from Baby. IDs can get wet. They are not affected by showering, swimming, or washing dishes, and they are not affected by tanning booths. When a baby goes home with a student, you will need to put this ID into your student's wrist using one of these tamper-proof wristbands. Every time that baby needs something, the student will have to ID the baby, telling it that the correct parent is caring for it. It holds the students accountable for their simulation, so they can't just pass Baby to their family.
Go ahead.
Okay, we're going to continue on with student wristbands. When a baby goes home with a student, you'll need to put the ID onto the student's wrist using one of these tamper-proof wristbands. Every time Baby needs something, the student will have to ID the baby, telling it that the correct parent is caring for it. It holds students accountable for their simulation, so they can't just pass Baby to their family or friends. There are 4 places on the baby that accept the ID: the front chest, the upper back, the lower back just at the top of the diaper level, and the lower front just below the belly button. You should put the ID wristband on the student's wrist tightly enough that they can't pull it off, but not so tight it cuts off their circulation. There also is a second ID for each baby, known as the babysitter ID. It will allow students to hire a babysitter if needed. but this should be used sparingly, and students should be aware that the care given by the babysitter will be tracked by the baby. So they will want to be selective in whom they choose to babysit. After a simulation, the report will show how many times the parent ID was used and how many times the babysitter ID was used. Now, another thing that comes with Baby is the participant care card, and it gives helpful tips for handling the care events as well as safety information. If you wish to forego the physical care card, the same information is available via a free app and may be downloaded from Android or Apple app stores by researching RealCare Baby Guide app, or also there's a link on our support page under participant-app. Now let's take a little look at some more things that come with Baby. Now, if you've ordered accessories to go with your baby, these include a car seat, a detector kit, a diaper bag, and a blanket. The car seat comes with instructions on how to install the detector kit. You can also find an installation video on the product support website. Let's take a closer look at Control Center software installation CDs and the X-Stick communication device. The X-Stick looks like a flash drive or a USB device. It comes in a pouch along with the instructor key on the keyring. It may be necessary to contact your IT department to install Control Center software. Full write permission is necessary to use the software properly. Control Center software cannot be installed on a network. It must be installed directly to the hard drive of the computer it's being used on. The X-Stick should be plugged into the computer before the computer is powered up to ensure proper operation. The X-Stick must be plugged into a USB port on the computer, but not into a USB hub or other remote location. Now, you most likely will have a single charger or a 5-baby charging station that you can use to charge your babies. The 5-baby charging station can be used to charge 5 at one time, and Baby can remain connected to the charger for up to 2 weeks, but no longer than that. Longer periods of time may damage the batteries. Looking further at things that come with a starter kit includes the RealCare Curriculum CD. And this CD comes with 3 separate curricula on it. Basic Infant Care has a focus on caregiving skills and child care career skills. Healthy Choices is our pregnancy prevention curricula, and Parenting focuses in child development and parenting skills. Another thing you'll receive is a Participant Care DVD. This 9-minute DVD is compatible with most computers capable of playing DVDs. It shows how the babies work and shows students involved in a simulation experience. It's also available for free on our website under Product Support/Participant Experience. And the final thing that comes in our starter kit is the instructor key. Now, the key will give you access to the inside of the baby, but you will rarely need to use it unless you have a product support issue or at some point need to replace the batteries. Now, I'm going to have you, if you have a baby in front of you, turn them over and look at the back battery cover. We're going to talk about what you see here on this battery cover. The first thing you see at the top is the recessed button. This is also known as the emergency stop button. If a student has Baby out in a simulation and an emergency comes up, the simulation could be ended by inserting a paper clip or something similar into that button. You will hold the paper clip in place until you hear 6 chimes. After that 6th chime, Baby would be turned off. By doing this, you could risk losing part of the simulation report. So it should be used only in extreme emergency situations. How you stop the baby during a simulation should never be released to your students. If you ever need to use this function, you should provide the info to like a parent or a guardian. The simulation report will register a message in the shutdown area that the emergency stop button was used. At this point, it's up to you whether or not the student should receive a passing score. Okay, if you look further down on the battery cover, you will see 3 colored lights. The red light is our battery light. If it's flashing, you will need to charge the batteries up overnight before you send it on a simulation. A flashing red light means it has less than 40% of a charge. The next light is our green light, and that's our charging indicator. When you plug Baby in for charging it up, it will go on solid and turn itself off when it's fully charged. That third light is the yellow light, and it's the communication light, which will be on solid whenever baby is communicating with the control center software. Usually this occurs when you're programming it for a simulation or retrieving the report data at the end. Now, RealCare Baby 3 is rechargeable, and you plug baby into a wall outlet using the charger. And the charging port is located right below the 3 LCD lights we were just looking at. The last thing on the baby back is the battery compartment lock, and only the instructor key will open this lock. Again, you'll never really need to go in there very much unless you need to change those batteries. Now we're going to go on to Control Center software. And you may need to contact your IT department for assistance in installing Control Center software if you don't have full write permission to the C hard drive of your computer. However, once your computer software is installed, you'll have a baby icon on your desktop, and it makes it very easy to access the software. You'll click on the icon on your desktop to open the Control Center software. The home page that you see on the screen right now is a screen that you will see each time that you open the software. Now we're going to go to the software itself at this moment so that you can see some of the fields as we go through them. First of all, you'll see in the upper left-hand corner there's something called All. That will list all of the babies that you have added to your software. The next one is Available. The Available category menu means that these babies are not active, so these babies are available to program. The next one going down is called Active. The Active menu means that all babies that you have in the software are listed there, are currently in a simulation actively, or are programmed to begin one. You can program the babies to begin up to a week in advance, so those babies, along with babies that are in a simulation, will appear right there. The next section on the Control Center screen in front of you, below the Active button, says Report Due and Reports. Report Due happens after the simulation is done. If a student is absent from school that day, a report due will be indicated by number in that field. The Get Report button that you see at the top is used if you wish to check on the status of baby mid-simulation when baby is in the room. The Daycare feature is used when babies are going to be in school. You may have some colleagues that don't wish to have baby active in their classes, so students may drop them off in your classroom. You could put them in daycare mode, and then you could remove them from daycare mode again when they are free to take baby. And one of the other buttons that you'll see at the top of your Control Center software is that Birth Certificates button. And you can print birth certificates from anywhere in the software if you choose. That's an optional feature. Now let's take a look at how to add a baby. If you look on this screen, you're going to go into the software and you're going to click on Add. And at the top you'll see it says Add Baby. And there are some helpful instructions at the bottom of the screen here that will also talk you through this step if you've forgotten how to do it. Now the first thing that you're going to do on your baby is find that recessed button that's at the upper portion of the baby's back. And you're going to hold that button down for 2 chimes, and this is what it's going to sound like. Once you do that step, somewhere under a minute, your baby's ID will flash at the top of the screen and be added to your software. There we go. You can see our baby was just added here. So you've successfully added baby to your software so that it is available to be programmed. This is the screen that you would add all of your babies if you have more than one. For the demonstration purposes today, we're just dealing with one. So we've added our one baby to this screen. Now the first thing that we're going to do today, now that we've got one baby in our Control Center software, we're going to put it in demo mode. So we're going to back out of Add Baby. When you choose the baby that you want to work with, you click in the box, and then we're going to move on to Demo Mode. Now, you can do a demo mode with any of your babies that are in that box that have been added. Before starting a demo, ensure that baby has a full charge, is unplugged from the charger, and the Control Center software is functioning properly. You'll also want to have an ID, a bottle, and 2 diapers on hand to work with a baby in demo mode. Now, when you work with a baby in demo mode, it will accept any ID. It doesn't have to be a specific ID configured to that baby. However, during an actual simulation, the ID that's configured or tied to that baby must be used to care for that baby. Baby must be unplugged from the charger to function properly in a demo mode. Baby will not accept an ID or diapers if it is plugged into the charger. Now, when baby starts to cry in demonstration mode, the first step is always to pick baby up and ID yourself as the parent to begin a care session. If multiple care sessions are selected in demonstration mode, baby must be ID'd each time it cries for care. During a demonstration, you're going to experience a few things. First of all, you're going to hear a chime, and the chime is simply communication of the X stick communicating with the baby. This is only heard during a demonstration and not in a real simulation. Then you'll hear baby begin to whimper, and gradually the whimper will build up to a cry. At this point, you will need to pick up baby and hold the baby, an ID up to baby. Now there again are 4 places on the baby that will accept the ID. The upper chest in the front, the upper back, the lower back just at the top of the diaper level, and the lower front just below the belly button. Once you have ID'd the baby, then you will hear another chime. At that point, you can begin handling the care event with your baby. Now, when you use demonstration mode with students, also don't forget to demo abuse and mishandle events so that students understand what not to do. And the 4 things that you would want to show them are head support failure, shaken baby, wrong position where you'd position baby upside down or on its face, and rough handling, which means baby would be hit, kicked, or dropped. At this point, we're going to go ahead and put baby in demo mode so that you can see all the different fields in the software. You'll notice below there's a coo, a feed, a burp, a diaper, a cough, and a rock. Those are all of the different events and sounds that baby can demonstrate. Below that, you'll see event duration. You can set that however length you wish, up to 2 minutes, and you can also adjust the quiet time between the events. You have the customizable ability to do it in a specific order or a random order, and you can play events through one time or on a continuous loop, depending on your needs. There are preset 1 and preset 2 are 2 preset modes that you can use to save some time and make it easy. Preset 1 will demo all of the events that you see up here in that specific order one time through. In preset 1, the event duration lasts 60 seconds, and there would be 30 seconds of quiet time in between those events. If you choose to use preset 2, it lengthens that event duration to 2 minutes with 30 seconds of quiet in between. Now you'll notice this one is done in a random order on a continuous loop. Preset 2 is especially helpful for the class period right before babies are going to be sent home. You could put it on a continuous loop for your entire class period and pass babies around, having care events done in a random order, giving students that experience of trying to figure out which of the 4 care events is it that baby needs and how do I handle that. That's an excellent way to get your students comfortable and ready to take baby home. Now once again, you also have the ability to go in and demo things in isolation. So you may decide you just want to have students practice a feed, and maybe you want that feeding event just to be a minute long. You'll see how I'm changing the time. And then maybe only 15 seconds of quiet in between. Since you're only doing one event, it's just one order. But you could do that continuously. So every 60 seconds, someone else would be using that baby to practice a feeding event. Then you could change it up. You could do burp, diaper. You could just do 2 and add a 3rd and then add a 4th. But any command that you choose down here at the bottom, once you're happy with it, you click on Start Demo, and that's when baby chimes to receive that command, and that's when the baby starts to cry, and that's your cue to pick it up, ID that baby, and start caring for it. If at any moment you wish to stop a demo, you simply click the Stop Demo mode. The coo and the cough are put in demo mode so that students have the ability to hear a couple sounds that baby will make frequently. Those sounds do not require any care. They're simply there to show students what sounds that they may hear. Now that you've had a chance to see demo mode a little bit, we are going to actually go into the programming mode a little bit more. To get to that screen, you simply back up and you click on Program Baby. And you'll see on our slide here, we are going to go on to programming a simulation. Again, you need to choose the baby that you wish to program, and then click on Program Baby, and it will bring up this screen that you see on the slide. Once again, a reminder, you can program your babies up to a week before sending them out for a simulation. Babies should always have a full charge before starting the programming process. Now, there are 4 reasons a baby will shut down during an active simulation. Emergency shutdown, we've kind of gone over. That's when that emergency stop button is used to stop baby on purpose. There could be a battery shutdown if batteries on baby run out of power and baby needs to be recharged. There's a neglect shutdown. That happens when baby's been ignored for 12 hours. And then there's an abuse shutdown. That happens if baby shows abuse 24 times. Now, during a simulation, students will have to follow these steps for each care event. When baby starts to fuss or cry at a random time, they will need to pick the baby up. They will need to hold their parent ID up to one of those 4 areas and then listen for the chime. After that, it's up for them to decide which care event, a diaper change, a feed, a burp, or a rock, and they will have 2 minutes to figure out which care event it is, or it will be recorded as a missed care event. Baby will make a cooing sound indicating that a care event has been successfully completed. Now we're going to go into the software itself and look at programming a simulation. The first field that you see here says class. Our default folder says no class. That is the folder that any of your reports will go into if you do not assign them to a specific folder. Now you can create custom folders for any class you wish by clicking on New Class. And then you would enter the name that you want for the folder. We'll call this one Child Development. And I'll click on OK, and that creates the class folder. The next field, you would assign the student who's being assigned to that baby for the simulation. We'll call the student Michael. And ID 1 is the parent ID. So whichever ID you want to put around that student's wrist, those 5-digit letters and numbers that you find in that ID go here. Now, if you want to have a second babysitter ID and allow for that, you would type those 5 digits from that second ID into this screen here. And this is what you would see come up, and you would simply type it into there and click OK. But again, that's an optional field that you don't have to do. The next field is going to be the name of your baby, and you can let students name their baby if you wish, or you may wish to permanently name all of your own babies. We'll call our little baby girl Sally. Now, the baby ID in this field will match the ID numbers and letters that you see on the baby's wristband. However, this is overridable. If you do edit, you could choose to put in baby 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, baby A, B, C, D, if that's a system that works for you. Again, that is totally up to you how you want to set that up. I've decided to call this baby A just to make it easier. The gender and ethnicity fields, again, are optional, but you can feel free to go ahead and choose to use the drop-downs for that if you'd like. Again, that's optional, so we'll just click OK. And then once you're happy with that information, you set up the times for your simulation. So we're going to choose to start this Friday night. Let's say we want to send it home at 4 o'clock when school gets out. And we're going to send it home for the weekend, so they'll bring it back Monday morning at 8 o'clock right before school starts. So once you've chosen the times and the dates, you can then move on to the schedules. Now, there are 15 schedules to choose from when programming baby. There are some that are easy, medium, hard, or random. And these 15 schedules were based on diaries kept by parents of real newborns that round the clock for 24 hours, they noted any care that they gave to their infants, and those are the basis for these 15 schedules. If you're needing some help deciding which schedules to choose, you could click on Schedule Helper, and you will see this box come up. You'll notice you have a easy mix, medium mix, hard, or random that you could click on any one of those and it will set those up for you. Or you can decide to go into each day of the simulation and choose from one of the 15 schedules yourself. We're going to make it hard just because we think Michael could use that kind of a baby. So we'll click OK for the hard mix, and that decision has now been made. The last field that you have that you can choose to use are quiet times. There are up to 3 quiet times that are allowed during a simulation period. Those may be used if a student has a job, a sporting event or another school event, or perhaps a personal event or family event that they simply cannot care for baby during. If you decide to allow for quiet time, you would simply go in, you would choose the date. We'll say Michael's on the football team, so we know Friday night he's going to have a game that starts at 6 o'clock until about 10 o'clock. So that's about 4 hours. We're going to give baby quiet time. During quiet time, baby will not cry for care. It will just remain silent. However, if somebody picks that baby up and would mishandle it or mistreat it, that is recorded. So in this case, we have now chosen all of our simulation parameters. We are done, so we would actually click done. And that baby is now set up for simulation to start this Friday at 4 o'clock. Let's take a look at the simulation report that happens at the end. After a simulation's ended, you'll want to retrieve the simulation report data from the baby. This report will tell you the kind of care baby received during the simulation. If a simulation has reached the programming stop time and ended, baby may have already downloaded the report once he enters the room. You'll need to check the report folder you set up for that data to download into the software. You'd go into that class folder and retrieve Michael's report. To find the simulation report data, you look in the report section on the left-hand side of the Control Center software, just below those pictures of the babies that we looked at previously. There is a default report folder called No Class. Now, remember, this one we created was called Child Development, so that's where I would have found this report if I looked in that folder. There's also another folder called Trash, and that's where you can dump any of the reports that you no longer need and delete them. Now, the simulation report, page 1 that you're looking at right now, includes all the information from the student's simulation experience relating to care events. The top of the report identifies the student, the baby, the start and end times, as well as any quiet times. You can see that it also shows the total amount of minutes that the baby cried during the simulation. So here it says 54 minutes total. The performance overview percentage is calculated based on performance data. First, it will check how many care events were successfully handled, and you can see that it shows that on the left-hand side of the report right here for each of the care events. Now, on the right-hand side are any mishandling events, those being shaken baby, head support failure, wrong position, or rough handling. Any mishandling events are subtracted from the success of the proper care events, and that's where you get your overall performance overview percentage. You have the ability to customize the grading rubric and the weight or the points taken off for any of the mishandle events. We have some instructors that say they take out 100% for only one shaken baby, instantly failing the student because in real life, one shaken baby event could end the life of a child. Now, this report also shows how many times each ID was used. So if you look here, you'll see ID 1, which is the parent ID, was used 80 times, and in this case, ID 2, the babysitter ID, was used 13 times. If there was no babysitter ID, this would say 0. And then below, the bottom part of the report gives all of the detail of any mishandlings or missed care events. So it'll give you the date and the time. And you'll see some of them are at the same time. So if a head support failure occurs during a care event, and it looks here like it was in the middle of the night, and he tried to feed the baby, and the head was dropped, that cancels out your care event and reports it as a missed event, and it also records a head support failure. Now, if we go on to page 2 of the report, this is where all the new data is recorded with the RealCare Baby 3. Now, the first part you'll see is where the temperature is graphed over time. That shows if baby's gone outside the safe zone into a hot or cold zone. It also shows below each item of clothing that was worn during the simulation and when. And if there are large chunks of time when no clothing or diapers worn, this is definitely a talking point with the student. This report also shows time in the car seat on this line here. The information that's reported on this page does not impact the grade on page 1. However, instructors are welcome to create their own rubric for the data if they wish to grade it. Now we have just a few best practices or program implementation suggestions as you go forth with your RealCare program. Number 1, choose a goal. Choose a class or a program within your organization that has the same goal in mind. whether it's a teen pregnancy prevention goal, a parenting education goal, a child development goal, or a combination. You'll just want to make sure that you have a goal in mind so you're better able to measure any outcomes. Next, you'll want to decide how much time you decide to dedicate, 1 week, 1 month, a semester. That will dictate or determine the length of the simulation students will go through. And it's always a good idea, at least 2 weeks ahead of time, to go through the curriculum and any of your supplies to make sure you have everything on hand before you start your program. Now we know many of you may be experiencing a transitional period right now where you may have both RealCare Baby 2 Plus and 3 models in the same program. Now just a reminder that there is no difference with how each of these babies is programmed. They use the same control center software to do so. The difference is in the reporting after simulation is complete. They both get the same page 1 data, however RealCare Baby 2 gets that second page of performance data. Now, if your program has a transition period of blended programs and blended models, here are a few management tips. First thing you might want to do is allow students to volunteer to be assigned as an advanced model that will record extra credit data, that being RealCare Baby 3's. You could create a rubric around page 2 performance data and then use this as an extra credit assignment grade. You could decide to donate your RealCare Baby 2 Plus to a local middle school as the beginner model and then use your RealCare Baby 3 models at the high school to provide the more advanced program. Do not tell students that there's a difference. Perhaps assign both models randomly and allow students to have the same simulation experience regardless of the model. And then when the reports are printed at the end, you can choose to whether or not you wish to print that second page or not. You could put student names into a drawing and randomly choose which baby model they'll be assigned. You could explain that anyone with a RealCare Baby 3 will receive additional performance data on the report at the end, so they'll know to expect that. And one other suggestion we have, that if you have more than one section or class where you are using your babies, you could choose RealCare Baby 2 Plus perhaps for parenting and maybe use your 3s for the other class being like child development. So those are just a few suggestions if you've got that blended situation. We've recently now gone through a product support change on our website and reorganized things to make it easier to find information. And we want to draw to your attention some of the things that are available for your use. First of all, there are many video tutorials at on our support website on many different topics. We've got control center software help guide on there, as well as frequently asked questions on many topics. Again, there are also written documents that you can access on a variety of things as well. To find all of these things, you would go to product support, and we've got 7 buttons at the top that vary by topic, and you would simply click on that topic that matches the thing that you have your inquiry about. Once you click on a button, it will take you to related support videos. It will take you to the portion of the help guide that's related, and it will also take you to FAQs and written documents. So we urge anyone with questions to go on out to product support and take advantage of the wealth of resources that are available to you on the product support part of the website.
All right, well, thank you, Denise. Excuse me. Before we move into the Q&A portion of the webinar, we do have just a few brief reminders. First of all, we are currently offering the lowest prices of the season on RealCare Baby 3. If you have not already taken advantage of this wonderful opportunity, we highly encourage you to contact your local account manager for details. Second, we will be providing free monthly webinars on a variety of RealCare Baby topics over the next few months. They may not always apply to you, but you can stay up to date on upcoming webinars and register for those that interest you by regularly visiting our product support pages. There you'll find a page dedicated to our webinars, and you'll be able to get details on upcoming ones and register accordingly. Finally, we are constantly sharing product information, promotions and sales, school funding tips and tricks, and glimpses into our company culture across our various social media channels. We invite you to connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and by subscribing to our blog. All right, at this point, we're going to move into the Q&A portion of our webinar. We'll give everyone just a moment. If anyone has any questions, they can go ahead and type into that questions panel in the lower right corner of their GoToWebinar screen. All right, well, we do have one question here. Does your program include any other assessments in addition to the student simulation report? Denise?
Yes, it does. All of the curricular CDs that are included with each of our products include things like pre and post summative assessments, and you will also find some unit tests and lesson quizzes embedded as well.
All right, fantastic. Oh, good. It looks like we have another question. Someone is wondering if we have any suggestions for what they can do to encourage buy-in for my RealCare program with other staff and administrators at my school. Good question.
That is a good question, one we frequently get. And I would say that we have several helpful resources that can help with a smoother implementation school-wide. The curriculum itself has many useful templates for communicating with teachers, administrators, many for parents, and even for coaches. The software itself also is very customizable, giving you choices on how to implement